Welcome back. This video will be about the seventh seal. If you haven't seen seals 1 to 6, I highly recommend you go and check them out. You can check them out, leave the links in the description below. There's also the Revelation 12 sign. You can check that out in my playlist under Heavenly Signs. So we're going to go into Stellarium and we're going to check out the seventh seal. So let's go check it out. So we'll start back here in the sixth seal. It's on November 8th, 2022 at 6 a.m., which was the peak of the blood moon under the ram and the male lamb. So we're going to follow this moon until we reach the seventh seal. It's not far. It's only 3 months away. It's on February 6, 2023. And this moon sits right in front of the mouth, the Lion of Judah. I'm going to read Revelation 8, chapter 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. So when I seen this is the day of the great earthquake in Turkey. When I seen this, it made me think about the scroll with the 7 seals on it. And he's breaking the 7th seal. Now, you can't read this scroll until that 7th seal is broken. And after that seal is broken, there's silence for half an hour before the Lion of Judah can speak. Jesus is the Lion of Judah. So this moon being here shows me that there is a silence there before it is read. Now, we're going to go and look at a map of Turkey. This is where the earthquake happened, and these are the churches, the 7 churches that are mentioned in the book of Revelation that John wrote. And John was on the island of Patmos, just east of Turkey here. And these are the 7 churches. Just down here is Syria to the south, and south of that is Israel. So we're going to read about the earthquake on February 6, 2023 at 4:17 TRT, which is the time in Turkey. It's also the same time in Israel. At 4:17, there was a magnitude 7.8 earthquake. And at 13:24, exactly 9 hours and 7 minutes later, there was a second earthquake of a magnitude 7.7. Now, there was widespread damage in the area of about 350,000 square kilometers. That's about the size of Germany. An estimated 14 million people, or the 16% of Turkey's population, were affected. Development experts from the United Nations estimated that about 1.5 million people were left homeless. The confirmed death toll stood at 59,259. 50,783 of them were in Turkey, 8,476 were in Syria. And I'll read down in the earthquake sequence. Just want to read you the last sentence in it. It says, these earthquakes were the largest Turkish earthquakes in over 2,000 years. There was over 570 aftershocks were recorded within 24 hours of the magnitude 7.8 earthquake, and 10,000 recorded 3 weeks later. I want to show you some earthquake maps. This shows all the different earthquakes that happened, and these are all with a 4.0 or greater that are mapped on this map. And if you look at it, you can see that the number 7 is like written in the earth. I'll show you another map. Shows you the same thing, this pattern. To me, it looks like the finger of God wrote this upon the earth. And one more here. This is a horizontal displacement, and it also shows the picture, the number 7. So let's look at some numbers here. So from the 6th seal, which was November 8, 2022, until the 7th seal, which was February 6, 2023, if you look at the seconds between those two events, there was 7,776,000 seconds between those two dates. I just think that's pretty remarkable. A lot of sevens there. So I'm going to go back to Stellarium. I'm going to go forward in time until we reach 417. Because the moon moves away from the mouth of the Lion of Judah. And there it is there, 417, the earthquake happened, and the moon has moved away from the mouth of the lion. So I just want to back this up. I just want to go in, and I'm just going to zoom in a bit. I just want to show you this constellation with the artwork off. So you look at these stars, the prominent ones that are in the lion. This one here is like the top of the head, or it could be the ear. This one is definitely the eyeball. This star is called Epsilon Leonis. This one here to me looks like it could be the nose. I know the artwork comes down, but to me, when I look at just the stars, to me it looks like the nose. It's called Alturf, but it's also known as Lambda Leonis. So I'm going to go back on the moon here. So when you come from the eye to the nose, and you come down here, you can see, I'm just going to try to zoom in a bit more. Okay. You can see like a mouth form because of these faint stars are in a line here. And I'll go forward again in time to move the moon out of the way of the mouth. So the eye here, the nose here, and the front of the mouth, got the open mouth right here. These stars in here, the open mouth. So the moon is out of the road, out of the way. Just move that back. Put the artwork back. I'll just zoom back out to what it would look like from the ground. So anyway, that's what I was shown. That's what I seen. And yeah, so let's go in and we'll talk about this. So that was very interesting, 7th seal. I was gonna show video footage and go in depth on like the devastation of those earthquakes, but then I thought most of the whole entire world has already seen so many like videos of the devastation and all the buildings just coming down like all over the area. I thought I don't really need to do that. We can talk about that because this was like massive event. I mean, this year started off and that happened, and yeah, it was the most devastating earthquake that I've ever seen, like footage of it, and it impacted me quite a bit. Now, remembering back when I was watching it, it never struck me back then that it was like the 7th seal, because back then I hadn't even found the first one yet. But as I was going along, and then getting into this stage of the seals, and I seen a pattern, and I might put a picture up of the pattern. The first 3 seals were Jupiter. Seal 1, 2, 3. They were Jupiter. Okay. Then Jupiter's gone. Okay. And the last 3, the 5th, 6th, 7 are moons. 2 of them are blood moons, and one of them is a full moon. But they're all 3 full moons. And the one in the middle kind of makes like a menorah, because there's 3 here, 3 here, and the one in the middle is different. It's the 4th seal, the pale green comet coming through. So it was a pattern, and it's probably a gift that the Lord's given me
since I was a kid, was noticing patterns. It could be how I was able to recognize certain patterns in the stars, probably why I enjoy them too. And beside the point, though, it was the moon's there, and I picked up on this pattern, which helped me to find that last seal, and was a full moon. So, because I started following the moon, kind of like I was following Jupiter at the beginning, after it came from the Revelation 12 sign, following Jupiter, and then Jupiter was gone, and then Com went through. I thought, I tried to follow Jupiter again if it wasn't leading to anything that matched, or it didn't make any sense, but the moons did. And then so I was like, oh, moon. So that just giving you some insight on how I was led to it, and didn't get that until you guys were praying too, and as far as that went, I didn't get those until I first shared the first 4. I think those things had to happen before the other things happen, if that makes sense. It's kind of like following in obedience, because if I wasn't going to do that, then what's the point of showing me anything further? So that's how I interpret all this. I hope I'm explaining myself okay, but anyway, that's how I was led to that one. And I got thinking about the scroll itself with the 7 seals on it, and in the Revelation it says who's worthy to open the seals, and I believe that's in chapter 5. And then there was sorrow because there was no one to open it. No one was worthy enough, and then there was one worthy enough. It was Jesus. The Lion of Judah comes and he opens the seals. So this kind of really fit in to the story with that silence, because when you open the last one, and there would be silence in anticipation almost, of opening the scroll. Like if you were there looking at it, I'd be silent. I'd be like, if I was chattering or singing, and I'd be like, I'd stop, I'd have a listen, because he's gonna speak soon. It's gonna tell us what's written. This is the way I felt, and when I was seeing this, I was just like, wow, this is pretty amazing, because I didn't know that was gonna be the Lion of Judah speaking until I seen it myself. I'm like, wow, that works, that fits. And then when I seen all the 7s, and so I was like, yeah, this is it. And there was one sticky point for me, that was, I thought the earthquake would be a 7.7. I know it's a 7.8, but I thought 7 point, because the second one was 7. I thought the first one would be a 7.7, kind of like the 6th seal. But I think that's a clue to something, along with the 7 in the earth, because I was thinking about this, and I've had people ask me too, are the trumpets going to be in the heavens? And that's why I was making that one video as well, the Revelation Unlocked, because I was explaining how I felt that everything's related and connected. And I know if you watch that video, it might not make sense right away, but if you watch it a couple times, let it sink in, and once you understand the groups, and the groups are labeled with the bowls, whatever the bowl is poured out on, that labels the group. That is the key to it all. It's kind of like doing a maze backwards. It's easier to do the maze backwards. So if you look at the bowls, and then you can pertain that to the trumpet, and then you can pertain that to the seal. It's all like one big thing. And I went as far in that video to call the seals seeds, and the trumpet the blade, and then the bowls, the thunders were the corn, the ear, and then the bowls was the kernel in the ear. But it's a good video to help explain the whole way that these things grow. Because I'm going to do another video. It'll be episode 2 of that video to go in depth and explain it more. And it'll help explain how I feel that I don't believe that there's going to be signs in the heaven for the trumpets. Because I feel that is going to come from the earth. Because when you put a seed in the earth, the trumpets, like when the blade comes up, even like the blade and then the second blade, and they kind of like arc over, it looks like a mini trumpet coming out of the earth, and the trumpet is sound. And that's what I wanted to bring up, that 7.8. I might think that 7.8 is a special number in the Schumann resonance. It's a fundamental, it's a wave. It's a sound wave, and it's the first fundamental one from 0. It peaks at 7.8. And I know that might sound a little bit odd or a little bit crazy, but to me, it makes sense, because when I look at the Schumann resonance and I look at the wave peaks, they reminds me of the moon, because the peaks, I've written down here, the peaks go at 7.8 is the first one, 14.3 is the second peak, 20.8 is the third, 27.3 is the fourth, and then the last one is 33.8. I know this is like getting into some technical stuff, but I just want to say it correlates. When I look at the moon, the moon's in phases, and it goes in like sevens, right? So 7, 14, 21, 28, and these are very close to it. So it's like God's signature, His handwriting is all over this, like the Schumann resonance. So that's where I think that this is like a breadcrumb. The 7.8 was like a clue or a breadcrumb of where to look next. And we don't need to look there, because it's also comes from the earth. So I think we can observe what's going on the earth with the trumpets to see when they're coming. Which brings me to another set of questions that have been asked, and that is, are these opening as they've been the dates that they were shown? Is that the seals opening? Or are they just a warning to the coming of these seals? Or have some of them opened and some of them not? And if I'm honest, I do not for 100% know. I don't. I don't know for 100%. I lean one way or another, and I can get into that. I can make another video for that. But there is a lot of ways to look at these of when they start, because it's like when people talk about when these start, we're talking about a timeline. So and we're talking about a timeline, there's always a start point. Like, when are we going to push the start on the stop clock, like the stopwatch? When do we start it? Do we start it at the Revelation 12 sign? Do we start at the 30 moons after with the first seal? Or do we start at the second seal, where it kind of symbolizes the Christ crucifixion, because of the 30 years of Christ's life, 30 moons, and then the 3 years, 3 moons, the second seal, his life? Does that start then? Or does it start after all the seals have been opened, like a farmer? Do they start, you plant all the seeds, the 7 seals equating seeds, do you start the clock then? Or is it the 6th seal? Because the 6 and the 7, they really overlap. And even with the 7, the stuff that's written in the 7th seals and the first trumpet, that overlaps. It's like a circle within a circle. Kind of reminds you of Ezekiel's wheel with a circle within a circle. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of symbolism to indicate and help us to show like what's going on, because that Ezekiel's wheel, it's all through like the Old Testament, how things repeat. There's nothing new under the sun. That's kind of ecclesiastical, there's nothing new, and things repeat. History repeats itself. Rise and fall of kingdoms, and then when when the people hit the rock bottom, they cry out to the Lord again, and then God in his mercy saves them, and they start climbing back up, and then things are going good again, and then they forget about the Lord because they got too much, and they become spoiled again, and they forget about the Lord. And anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. So yeah, so a timeline, I can do videos like that. You can let me know in the description if you want me to dive deeper and talk about what I think is timelines and how I see things, because in my mind I have one set, but it's not set in stone, and I'm waiting. There's a certain date in my mind. I'm waiting to see if something big happens, and if something big doesn't happen by this certain date, then I'm going to have to change my personal thinking about how I proceed in my thoughts from that point forward. But in any case, do I take them? I definitely do take these as a warning, because when you look around at this earth the way it is and what's going on in it and the timing of all these signs, because I think they're undeniable, they're there, and the odds of them happening is just, it's too awesome to ignore. So I definitely take them as a warning. I definitely think, if you don't have Jesus, that it's time. It really is. And if you want Jesus, you don't have him, give me an email. I'll leave that in the description as well. And but if you need to tell people, definitely tell them. Share this. This is something tangible too, that you can show someone that it's not a believer, that doesn't believe in God's word, doesn't believe the Bible. You could say that there's the guy John that wrote the last book in Revelation, okay, 2,000 years ago. He wrote things down that are happening in the heavens, that are, because they're happening in sequence, and you work out the odds. You can show them the videos. You can tell them yourself that if you never believed, have a look, because you might become a believer, because this is something tangible, something you can go on Stellarium yourself. You can go through the dates and you can see how they're all created with the stars telling a story, and it's pretty awesome. So if you can bring the ones that that they're skeptics, they're unbelievers, they might be scoffers. If they can just get 5 minutes of their time to start showing them these things, they might have a different point of view. Because I was trying to think the other day of something like, people want to see a sign or proof or something, and this is actually something that you could show them, that John 2,000 years ago wrote this, and they happened, and it's absolutely remarkable. It's amazing that these things actually created them in the heavens, and they're here. And I have a hard time denying it. I can't anymore. It's just like, it's too awesome. So yeah, so there's some things you can do about it. You can share it with people, but definitely tell people about the Lord Jesus. I believe he is coming. I believe it's soon. I'm not a date setter. Just because I don't know, it can't be 100%, and because it even says no man know the day or the hour. But let me know in the comments if you want me to do another video. I'm gonna do one about Revelation Unlocked. I'm gonna go in depth about the seeds and the blade, and I'll talk a little bit more of that next. But if you want me to go and talk about some timelines and what I think, what I believe, I can do that. So I want to thank you for popping by. I hope I didn't ramble on. I felt like I might have there. I love you guys, and until the next video.